Hello and welcome back to another episode of Best Bets. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary. I am joined, as always, by Newsday's NFL pick columnist Joe Manniello. Joe, how are you?
Doing good, Matt. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It was a pretty successful week for the both of us. Both finished over 500, which we count as a win. 4-1 for me, 17-9 on the season. 3-2 for you, Joe, up to 12-14 through 5 weeks.
Yeah, as I was watching Monday Night Football, I remember that you had the Packers and you almost had a 5-0 week.
I was very close. I was a little upset with the Jordan Love interception at the end. I was hoping they would come down and get points, but we move on, and maybe one of us gets a 5-0 week this week. We will start with the New York Jets and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles come to town as 7-point favorites. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, excuse me. It's a tricky spread. I feel like every week with the Jets, it's a tough game to pick because it's hard to figure the team out. Like, we both liked them last week, and that was the right pick. But against Kansas City, we bailed on them. They played great. So I can see this game being close, but I just don't see the Jets scoring enough points here to cover the number. It's a big number. It's probably a little bit too high, the spread. I think it might be closer to 5 or 6. So there is value in taking the Jets. I just don't trust Zach Wilson. Offense has played better. Give them some credit, but they did struggle in the red zone. And you need to score points against the Eagles. I feel like they're going to score around 23, 27, 30 points every game. They've hit right around that number every game, basically. So I think they're going to get there, at least 24 points. So I can see this game being 27-13, 24-15. I can see the Jets just hitting 5 field goals, having successful drives but stalling. And they lost their best offensive lineman in Elijah Vera Tucker. And I just saw that the Jets have never beaten the Eagles, 0-12, which I forgot about. So that's kind of remarkable. And this is a great spot for the Jets. I mean, if they can win this game, and not a great spot, not a bad team, but as far as getting a win, if they can win this game somehow, get to 3-3, next week is the bye, then they face the Giants. That's a win probably. So 4-3, and then they're back in the playoff picture. So it's a huge, huge game for the Jets. I can see them giving it their all. Really, I can see this game being close in the second, third quarter. The Eagles are just too talented. You saw what they did last week against the Rams to beat them, held them to 13 points, which is impressive. They got that brotherly love push thing going on. That's going to be coming to play here. So I just think the Eagles are have too much talent, too much power, and they'll pull away late for the cover. It'll be one of those games where, if you have the Jets, you'll be basically covering most of the game, and then a 17-13 game will be 24-13 and then forget about it. So I'm just going to lay the points here with the better team and hopefully they cover.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same and take the Eagles here. I agree that I think the Jets keep it tight for the first half, but then I think we see the Eagles pull away a little bit in the second half. Even if Aaron Rodgers was playing in this game, I think it's was one of the tougher matchups on the schedule for this team. As you mentioned, the Jets have never beaten the Eagles, and I know that very different teams, so it's not necessarily fair to talk about that for this team in particular. But again, just a really difficult matchup, and I think Elijah Vera Tucker being out in this game is what really scares me the most about this line. Jalen Carter, the rookie, has been absolutely fantastic, wreaking havoc from the interior, and they have speed on the edge as well. This is, the teams with the best defensive lines. You got the Eagles, the 49ers, the Jets are up there, obviously, but this Eagles line is just absolutely devastating. And on the offensive side of the ball, they have a phenomenal offensive line as well. So I think they're going to be able to run the ball well against this Jets defense. And maybe if they turn over Jalen Hurts a couple of times like they did to Patrick Mahomes, they keep it tight and they cover this one. But I know 7's a big number on the road. I think this ends up being a 10-point win for the Eagles, 24-14, something like that. Relatively low scoring. Jets hang around for a little bit, but I'm with you. I don't think they have enough offensively to cover this number.
Okay.
Let's get to the Bills and the Giants. Unfortunate Sunday Night Football game. Bills are 14-point favorites at home against the New York Giants. What's your feel here?
Yeah, I mean, this number could be close to 20, and I'd probably take the Bills. I mean, I just can't take the Giants here. We don't know if Daniel Jones is playing. I don't think it really matters if he does. Offensive line is in shambles. Defense isn't great. That game last week against the Dolphins, it could have been way much more lopsided. They had that pick six, and the Dolphins looked like they were bored in the second half. So I just don't like this matchup for the Giants. 14 is a huge number, and backdoor cover is possibility. But the Bills, that's awful trip to London. They lost the game. They lost Milano, and Tre'Davious White's already out. They have a lot of injuries on defense, but they're home. It's a tough environment to play. I don't think this will be close. I have it like 34-10, so I'll lay the big number.
Yeah, I'm going to lay the big number too. I think 14 is honestly a little bit generous. I know that the Bills are missing some key guys on defense, but I don't think it matters. They lead the league in sacks. The Giants give up the most sacks, and up in the air if Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor is going to play. Maybe Tyrod Taylor revenge game, maybe?
Revenge game, yeah.
I don't know if I'm buying that one, but this is a upset Buffalo Bills team after a tough loss over in London. You come back home. That team is just different at home. I don't know why. The Bills just they put up a ton of points at home. I think this one could get really ugly, Joe. Like 35-6, something like that. I have very, very little faith in the Giants offense with how bad the offensive line's been. To me, it doesn't matter if it's Jones or Tyrod Taylor. And we know that the Bills defense is still going to be able to get after the quarterback. I think that's just a bad recipe for this Giants team. Our game of the week is the Cowboys and the Chargers. Cowboys coming off a pretty tough loss against the San Francisco 49ers. We both were on the 49ers last week. Let's see how we are this week. Are we back on the Cowboys, or are you taking the Chargers in this one, Joe?
I'm taking the Cowboys. I feel it's really important to remember the NFL week-to-week league. A team that looked awful last week can come out and look great. And I think that's what's going to happen here in Dallas. I think they'll bounce back. It'll be a close game. We got Kellen Moore, the former Cowboys OC, now the Chargers OC. So that's like a game within the game, him versus Mike McCarthy. The Chargers are off a bye. But the Chargers, for all the talent they have, they always play close games. I wrote my column this week. They're contractually obligated to play close games. I don't know what it is about them. They can never put teams away. And I just don't see them winning this. I think Dallas will win this game with a late drive. Or it's going to be a close game, 27-24 type of game. But I think Dallas, and Dak Prescott, he called last week's game one of the most humbling losses of his career. And I just feel like everyone's crushing Dallas in the national media and all the talk shows, and I think they're a better team. So I'm going to take the better team here. I mean, it's under 3 points spread. The Chargers, I feel like you can never trust them, and I think Dallas has a lot to prove. So I think they're a better team, and as long as Moore doesn't have an unbelievable game plan against his former team, trick plays and stuff like that, I think I'm pretty confident. Dallas is my second best bet of the week, so Dallas -2.5.
Yeah, I like Dallas a lot this week too. I think people are overreacting to a really bad performance against, to me, the team that looks the best right now in the NFL, and the San Francisco 49ers. But I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy guy, but this stat I saw that was pretty impressive. You have to go back to November of 2021, the last time the Cowboys lost back-to-back games. And I know they were embarrassed, on the national stage. They get another shot on the national stage on Monday Night Football. And I agree with you. I think this is the better team. To me, I think the Super Bowl aspirations for this Dallas team is legit. And the Chargers are just a team that I can never trust. I think Herbert's great. I don't like the coach. I think he makes a ton of mistakes, and it wouldn't surprise me again if it's a late mistake that ends up costing them. I think it gets a little bit of a shootout going, but maybe like a 30-24 kind of game. The Cowboys, as you mentioned, the Cowboys score late to go ahead and win this one. But I like Dallas on the road to bounce back this week as well. Let's get to our best bets. What's one that jumps out to you that you want to put a play?
Yeah, I mean, my best bets have been awful this year. I'm 1-4, so I said to myself this week, stop trying to overthink it. Just go with the best team. And maybe that's not the best strategy, but I'm taking the 49ers, 6.5 point favorites on the road at Cleveland. Normally, this might be a tricky spot. I feel like, it's a letdown spot after the big win against Dallas, but we put too much stock into that theory. And the Niners, to me, are just a machine right now. They won 15 straight regular season games. Brock Purdy, 10-0 as a starter in the regular season. They're demolishing teams, scoring over 30 points every game. The Browns are off a bye, and they have a great defense. But let's remember 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, that great defense gave up 28 points. They lost 28-3 with their backup quarterback. Deshaun Watson probably isn't playing here. They don't even know who's starting at quarterback. So the whole idea they had 2 weeks to plan for San Francisco, that's true, but they've had this outside drama about who's playing at quarterback. The Browns are always a mess. And, maybe this game's closer than I think, but I still think that maybe they don't score 30 points. Maybe it's 24-10 or something. But I still think the Niners are just too good. Kyle Shanahan, I think he used to coach in Cleveland as an assistant way back when, I think.
Yep.
And I can see him going back to, I just feel like there's no, when you pick against the Niners, it's almost like you're talking yourself into. I did that like when the Giants played them. I talked myself into taking the Giants for some reason. And I'm just going to go with the best team here. I think they take care of business. And if you look at their schedule, I mean, I know it's early, but they can go undefeated. I mean, I know it's only week 5, slow down. But they play the Eagles December 3rd. And other than that, Seahawks twice. They got a real shot. Their schedule isn't that tough. So the way this team looks, I don't see anyone stopping them. So I'll lay the 6.5, and hopefully they don't lose by 6. I mean, they'll win by 6.
Yeah, I think that I agree with this play. I like the 49ers a lot. I think they just continue to roll, and I get it. As you said, the Cleveland coming off a bye. Some people are going to talk themselves into them keeping it tight. I don't see it personally. For my best bet, I'm going to go with the Lions -3 over Tampa Bay. So in a way, kind of similar because Tampa Bay's coming off a bye, but the Lions have just been an absolute juggernaut on offense. They've scored 30-plus points in 3 of their 5 games. The Bucs haven't scored 30 once yet this year. Now, they do have a really good defense. They're 8th in the league in points allowed, so they do a good job of limiting their opponent. They've been a pretty surprise team, but I just don't know if Baker Mayfield in this offense is going to have enough to go toe-to-toe with Jared Goff and all the weapons that they have. And I think the Lions offensive coordinator is one of the best coordinators in the sport. Looks like he's going to be a head coach candidate in the 2024 cycle, I guess. So I think they come out here another game over 30 points. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to end up having enough to get there. Maybe they get to 20, but 30-20, something like that.
Yeah, I like the Lions too, but I don't feel confident about it. I just feel like it's a weird something about this match. Well, it scares me. I don't know. Tampa Bay's defense plays really well, and Lions not in the dome. It scares me, but I'm taking the Lions too.
All right, there we go. And how about a underdog pick?
Yeah, looking through the matchups, there's one game. It's the first rematch of the season so far, so these teams have already played. And surprisingly, week 6 already playing twice. But Jaguars and Colts. Colts getting 4.5 at Jacksonville. I like the Colts. I think they might win this game. Jacksonville's weird. They're 2-0 in London, 0-2 in Jacksonville. I'm really surprised they're playing this week. I thought they would have taken a bye. Excuse me, after 2 straight weeks in London. So, could be motivation. They could ride the momentum from last week's big win over Buffalo. I just think it's going to be a close game. 4.5, too many points. First week they played, Jaguars won 31-21, but it was a close game the whole way. And I think 4.5. I think both teams are 3-2, so winner will be in first place in the South. And you got Gardner Minshew facing his old team. The game's got lots of layers, so I think it'll be a close back and forth game. Jaguars to me, just because they beat Buffalo, and I think I was way wrong on that pick. I got that one way wrong. But those were my lock of the week last week. But Jackson played great. I just don't know if it carries over at home. Maybe there's a letdown. Who knows? But I just go back to the number 4.5. I think it's a 3-point game either way. So I'll take the 4.5 points.
All right. Yeah, I like that play a lot. And the revenge factor for Minshew. And he's played well filling in for Anthony Richardson. So I like that one. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans plus 1.5 against the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are coming off a dominant performance up in New England, but I think this is a letdown spot for them. I think, riding high after that, impressive road win where they dominated against, Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. And Houston, they've played a ton of really, really tight games, and I'm a big fan of rookie C.J. Stroud. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And I know that's a really tough Saints defense, but I think he's going to put up some points. I got this a lower scoring, kind of tight game, but I think the Texans pull out the upset at home in this one and win something like 23-20.
Yeah, I got Texans too, but I don't have a good feel on that game.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. So let's run through these real quick. Both Joe and I are on the Eagles -7 against the Jets. Bills and Giants, big spread, but we both like the Bills -14. Game of the week, Cowboys and Chargers. Cowboys -2.5 against the Chargers, both on that. Best bet, I'm going with the Lions -3 over Tampa, and Joe is going with the 49ers -6.5 against Cleveland. For the underdog picks, Indianapolis plus 4.5 against Jacksonville for Joe, and myself, I'm going with Houston plus 1.5 at home against the Saints. Joe, I appreciate you joining me as always.
Matt, thanks. Thanks for the 5-0 week.
Hope so.